it's definitely interesting. So it is a foregone conclusion. Yes, they've turned stealth off.
So that was the leader of our industry group and I doing some testing on a stealth prospector. The stealth prospector is kitted with the Mirage for shields, the Eclipse as a power plant, the Nightfall for a cooler, and the Spectre for a quantum drive. And those are all of your stealth grade A components. And so we have been conducting some testing, just trying to determine if having any kind of stealth capacity at all right now in 3.17.1 makes any difference. And really the TLDR version of this is, it didn't. But I thought what I would do is take a moment to explain kind of some of the testing that we did, and then just kind of pass along the information to you. So the first thing that we tried to do was establish just what the passive range was for detection. And so that turned out to be, regardless if you had stealth components turned on, turned off, however it worked out, it was 10. It was always 10. And that could be having a number of the components turned off. That could be having the mining laser turned on. We always detected each other at 10 passively. So at this point, things kind of pick up inside the cockpit, and we just kind of discuss as we're trying to, passively kind of reach each other and trying to make a determination of how the scanning mechanics work as far as from a passive standpoint.
It won't let me.
Yeah, so if you approach here, don't come in real fast or whatever, but just kind of curious. Right now I'm at a 69.49 heat, 11,000 cross, and 11,719.
Are we testing to see how far or how close I have to be to actually detect you before should I actively ping you?
Yeah,
how do you want to do it?
It's definitely passive. That's the thing that I'm most
Okay,
interested
so we'll
in.
just.
Oh, I see you
there
now.
it is. Boom.
Did you see me at the same time?
Yep.
So the Prospector I was operating was kitted fully in stealth components. The Prospector that 8 was operating was not. It was one that had kind of a mixed, different componentry in it, and it didn't really matter. It didn't matter in this particular next test. I actually have the mining laser turned on, and we're having him approach, and it was the same kind of deal. As he approached, even when I had the mining laser turned on, which you would think would significantly increase his ability to detect me, we seen each other at 10. That's just the way that it works. So we really kind of made a determination at that point that it doesn't really matter what stealth components or whether or not you're using the laser from a passive standpoint, what I think is the most important thing, is if somebody's flying by, passively. If you're actively pinging for somebody, they're there, that's one thing. But if you're passively going by somebody, if you have stealth components, did that help you stay under the radar at all? And really the definitive answer is no.
Bang. Let's see if I can.
Now, do my signatures look any different with the mining laser on?
Let's see.
What's that?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's higher for sure.
Oh, okay. It didn't seem to matter, though. I mean, it just seems like passive detection.
Yeah, you went from last time I looked, you were at 11,000, about where I was when I had everything off, and
Right.
now you're at you're at 13,513. So
Gotcha. Here, let me turn on a couple of things and see if it goes up even more. All right, I just turned on my shields and my quantum drive.
oh yeah, you went up by 1,000.
Gotcha. Doesn't seem to affect detection at all, though, does it?
Not at any. Let's see. Can you see how far out? So you're about 10,000 out. So yeah, it doesn't seem to be affecting detection rates. Although, you detected me probably a couple 100 meters before I detected you.
That's interesting.
Of course, I was on the move. I mean, that may have a lot to do with it, but yeah, I mean that's definitely interesting. So it is a foregone conclusion. Yes, they've turned stealth off.
Yeah, well. So the final test we conducted was whether or not the Eclipse as a power plant with only a 5,313 power generation was somehow gimping the mining laser at all. Like, which person could get to the green fastest. Now, in this particular case, the stock power plant was in the was in 8's Prospector, and like I said, I have the Eclipse, and so we did several rounds of testing where we both, using one person using a 0% laser just to monitor, the other person go ahead and turn their laser intensity up to 100%, and then time how quickly it took to get into the green. And the numbers were kind of consistently around the same. There was some slight variations, as you would imagine. There are kind of softer spots on the rock, or that type of thing. But on the whole, there wasn't any radical difference between having a power plant that has 5,313, or I believe the civilian Daybreak is what's in there originally, which was, it has about 400 or 500 more power. So we're not also convinced that maybe if you were to use a Genoa or some other really large power source in a Prospector that you're going to gain any significant benefit from that either. So those were the couple things that we set out to test, right? We wanted to test kind of passively if the stealth components worked, in any capacity for detection, which certainly it didn't matter. It was 10 km, either way you slice it. And the second thing was whether or not having the stealth components maybe limited your ability to mine, which they absolutely did not either. So a bit of a mixed bag there, but I do think this is important information for people who may be considering investing in that type of component. And I'm at 100. And green.
36.
About the same, and then almost exactly there.
So I can probably say that it isn't affecting it though, if any.
Yeah, it doesn't appear to be. So we certainly do hope this information serves you well. Thanks for watching, and we will see you all around the verse.